Oh, sorry.
Damn it.
Okay, fuck. Do it.
I hope you're including this.
No, Steve, go ahead. You do what the thing you wanted to do.
Do it.
God damn it.
Go.
Back at it. Steve. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wild, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go! And here we go. All right, so feels good. That's the first Leafs win in 4 months, guys. 4 months.
Goodness.
And this
March
morning,
10th.
could we be tweeting about something good? No, we need to tweet about Martin Marincin. And Steve, I want to start with that because you sent out a tweet about Martin Marincin that I think we need to read. So it's I'm going to just read it for everybody. And then Steve, you can maybe explain it. Okay.
I sent out a couple tweets about Martin Marincin.
Okay.
Wow. So I'm allowed to look at Twitter right now?
Yeah. So,
damn, Adam, you wow.
The first one is he retweeted a Martin Marincin Maple Leaf hot stove goal, and they've been putting out highlights all year, and they kind of kept us going during the pandemic because they always had like a Leafs highlight every day. But Steve retweeted and said Martin Marincin once passed the puck to himself by banking it off the post on purpose because it looks cool as hell, and games his Corsi and then buried it.
Wow.
And then followed that up with a tweet. You foolish, Martin Marincin is bad. Me ascended, telepathic, and then it's just the big brain meme. So
me with a giant head.
So I guess you're just as excited as the rest of us that Martin Marincin will be drawing in, not Rasmus Sandin.
Big stick daddy Martin Marincin is in the lineup, and he's going to be unstoppable. Okay. I had a rough night with the baby. I didn't see anything about Marincin. I just saw people tweeting about him. Is he in the lineup or what?
He will be in the lineup.
Can I read something from Chris Johnston?
Yep. The Marty Party.
Chris Johnston says, replicating Thursday's effort, blah, 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 likely be replaced by Martin Marincin. Martin Marincin hasn't appeared in the Stanley Cup playoffs since 2017, when he was on ice for both goals against Washington in a 2-1 loss.
That is so dry, Christopher. How dare you, Christopher? Listen, I was at Game 3 against Washington when Martin Marincin was on the ice to kill off a 5-on-3 that, despite his best efforts, the Leafs were not scored on. Because, boy, did that guy just love throwing grenades right up the middle of the ice. Martin Marincin, but the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. He's got more staying power than Roman Polak, which I didn't think was possible. He's the longest tenured member of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's
how
incredible.
long? Well, he's not the longest. Morgan Riley is.
Second longest tenured member of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's what I thought. but in all honesty, there's the Martin Marincin at his supposed best. Steve, you once described him as Gandalf at the bridge. You shall not pass.
Pass. No, that was Igor Ojagandalf is what I called him. But Martin
he's got
Marincin,
that big wand, right? He's got that big stick that he's supposed to be able to use. I don't understand why they're putting this guy in. I don't get it. I do not get it.
What's your other option? Dermott?
Rasmus Sandin.
Sandin?
he's I would say for our Lord of the Rings comparison, he's like an archer. He's great at long range, but then what happens once they breach those walls? He's great at preventing zone entries, but once they're in there, they are there forever and ever. Amen. Mm-hmm. Are you guys excited for a big Marty Marincin hit?
Oh, don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing that he does. But I mean, he scored a goal on Vancouver once, and that was cool. On Thatcher Demko. I mean,
Marincin
well, we did get news today that Jake
kill. So we got to give him effort for that.
He is, Jesse,
Props.
Let's be careful with our words because words hurt. He is on the penalty kill. Let's be careful with the words we use.
Now, are there any Martin Marincin defenders left? I mean, because we were like, hey, maybe after that AHL Calder Cup run, maybe. Here's a guy.
Is winning the Calder Cup the worst thing that can happen to your organization?
I don't know.
Because then every member of that team, you're like, they're great. Every one of them, championship DNA. They know what they're doing.
There's been some players that have graduated.
DNA. Yeah, for sure.
There's some guys.
Yeah.
I mean, the Leafs roster currently has 18 players that have graduated for the Marlies.
That's
18.
a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a good job.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a great job. It's amazing. But I think.
Wait, what kind of job is it?
What?
Jesse, press the button.
Press
Press the button.
This one?
Steve's great job.
Oh, okay. Wow. We're not going to do that all show.
Well,
Wow.
yes, we are.
Not.
No.
No, because I want people to actually listen.
I don't get it.
So, obviously, the Martin Marincin news was preceded by the Jake Muzzin news, I guess, and that was that he was released from hospital this morning. If you missed the play, towards the end of the Leafs-Columbus Blue Jackets game, the game was sort of out of reach. Pierre-Luc Dubois sort of cross-checked, sort of pushed Muzzin from behind, and it would have been a nothing play except for the fact that Muzzin hit a Columbus Blue Jacket player's skate on the way down, twisted his neck, and unfortunately, there is some sort of injury with it. Now, Muzzin's going to be able to go back to the hotel, apparently be with the team. I didn't see anything about quarantining in there, but he will be able to stay with the team. He's just going to be unavailable for the rest of the series. So you got to think they're going to try to win it for Muzzin. The Leafs, though, did everything we asked them to do. If you saw the game, you know that the Leafs absolutely dominated play. They did something that we haven't seen them do all year long. Steven, what was that?
Dominated.
Dictate play.
They dictated the play.
That was you last episode. You were like, man, these guys, they need to step up and dictate play. They've got it. And it's almost like they listen to you.
Almost. It is almost like that. But what did it start with, Adam? I know people don't like this. But listen, if they're gonna clog up the middle and force you into the corners, what do you at very least have to do? Make the corners inhospitable. Kyle Clifford sent someone to the moon. Was it Dominic Kukin?
I think so.
Send him to the moon now
On a possibly illegal hit.
Yeah.
It was borderline.
It's playoff legal, we'll call it.
That's a great term for it because did not directly target the head. I thought 3 strides, feet planted at the moment of contact. Now,
Right.
That I wonder if they're ever going to revisit that rule because feet planted at the moment of contact and then straight upwards. So I don't know how long that sort of hit is for this world or if it should be in our game, but because he got almost entirely shoulder, I think we're good.
Right.
Kukin wasn't knocked out. He was just like, someone get the number of that truck because even if you get hit in the shoulder, it's gonna ruin your day.
He was going down. It was a big hit, but it's the effect that has on the team, right? It's the effect that has on momentum. That happens in the first 3 minutes, and from then on, even like when you're watching as a fan, sometimes you just feel good and you don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what started to happen. Now, you go through the first period, and there are chances, but they can't solve the goalie. Jonas Korpisalo is perfect through 4 periods in the series.
Oh.
And you get to halfway through the second period and you're thinking, and they're starting to talk about it. And Craig Simpson, just driving that home, right?
Oh, yeah. He was
Because Craig Simpson
fantastic
has
on the
no idea what
broadcast.
that's like. Because he has the NHL record for career shooting percentage.
Yes.
He doesn't
Yes.
understand getting stifled by a goalie. He doesn't get it.
Craig said it was like he was driving home. He's like, well, the players got to be, you got to wonder what Freddie Anderson's thinking, that guy Korpisalo's at the other end. And I just don't know how Freddie's going to keep up with this. And then he was, he's getting into the heads of Tavares and Matthews. And so finally, towards the end of the second period, we get a Matthews to Hyman, back to Matthews, tip past Korpisalo. And you just feel like in Matthews' celebration, you feel the relief that he felt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Here's
the reward.
How everyone felt at home, and it's it was one of those. Yes, it was a reward for a job well done. At that point, the Leafs were on pace for something like 60 shots.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was really they were really outplaying the Blue Jackets. And then John Tavares on his 8th scoring opportunity of the game, breakaway. And I'm, because when's John Tavares getting a breakaway? As much as I love John Tavares, not a speed,
I thought he was slow.
Not a speedy guy,
Someone
but
told
he
me
was
slow.
away. And that was goal number 2 in the third period, with another one where you go, holy smokes, he really, really needed that one. And then, of course, Morgan Riley puts the empty netter away. So the big guys come out big for the Leafs. The question I have for you is, how come we've never seen this before, and will we ever see this again?
Oh, I think we've seen it. It's just
Who have we seen this again?
They need
like
to
that,
be
like that complete of a game.
That complete of a game. I don't think we have.
Can I throw something
that-
out there?
Adam, that's a wonderful mug.
Thank you.
Throw it out there, Jesse.
What about their last victory before this was all shut down, when they beat Tampa 2-1, and it was probably the most solid Leafs game we had seen all season? They weren't flying. They didn't have all the shots going, but it was just a solid hockey game. I think that's
Jesse,
just as good as what happened last night.
That game is a wonderful example. Do you know what preceded that game?
That was a horrible showing on like
3
a Saturday
straight
night.
losses in California.
Yeah.
You all laugh at me at my supposed bit of getting someone to follow Frederic Gauthier around and ruin his day.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's wrong with that joke. I limited it to Frederic Gauthier. You got to follow all of them. Hey, Matthews, nice hat, bat. And just, hey, Marner, nice Red Bull hat. Knock it off. Just knock off all their hats. Except Kyle Clifford, you leave him alone. But the rest of them, you knock off all their hats. And you take their cool Justin Bieber shirts and you squirt mustard on them. And you throw Legos on the floor. You change their Instagram password. You do everything you can to, I said it. I said it, Adam. You ruin their day.
It's not good.
All you do is get them ornery and pissed off. That game 2 performance doesn't happen if they don't suck in game 1. I just one day need that in both games. But I mean, since when does that happen? Who's ever won 16 straight to win a Stanley Cup? Or in this case, it would have to be 19 straight to win a Stanley Cup. It doesn't happen. And a loss in game 1 is not a death sentence. The Toronto Raptors lost to the Orlando Magic. Kyle Lowry, 0 points. I was there.
Yeah, a loss, though, the way the Leafs lost, it was like, whoa.
It
And
was
the thing
very frustrating.
They had lost like that before. And what I'm saying is we've seen more of column A, which was game 1, than column B, which is game 2. Now, they had injuries this year. They had trouble putting it together. They had a coaching change. And then they went on a 20-game streak where they were 15-5.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the middle of the season. It was great to see this. How do we get them to replicate this? Because Columbus is going to try to come hard. If there is one thing that they are, I mean, they may not be the most skilled team in the league, but they are feisty and they are energetic. How do you catch them again? What do you do next time?
I think you got to stick to the plan and just make it hard on them. You just got to grind them a little bit. And you already see game 2, the effects. Kukin got clocked. Tortorella said he's fine. I'm sure he's not at 100%. Zach Werenski has already got his hand and or wrist taped. Interesting stat that I heard off the top of the broadcast. Seth Jones played 27 minutes in game 1. I don't care. I know. I don't care how long you were riding the bike this summer. It's going to take a while to get used to that, to play 27 minutes and then to recover from it. That's going to be difficult. So if they keep bringing it and bringing it and bringing it at the Columbus Blue Jackets like they did, and it's not like all their shots were from the outside, I think they'll eventually crack them.
There was a lot of there was one Nylander could have had where he was on, and this is in the frustrating part of the game where it's like, are they ever going to score? He was on his stomach and just took a two-handed whack at it, just went past Korpisalo's left pad, and you thought, man, like that even could have been a goal. And there was a lot of
even the one also where he tried to tuck it in.
Say that again, Jess?
Even the one also where he tried to tuck it in behind him, and then he just kind of shot it into the back of Korpisalo. Like there were so many opportunities like that.
Create chaos. Just
let me ask you this:
some chaos.
Jesse, can you turn up your mic a little bit more? You are very quiet.
I'm gonna shut off my AC. I think it's running. It's probably.
Oh, okay. You better shut it off.
Get all hot
Shut
and
off your
sweaty.
AC.
Get all
So
hot
yeah,
and sweaty.
I mean, it was great to see. John Tortorella was obviously himself after the game, saying, you know, they played great and we sucked. You know, that was the answer to every question. You think the Leafs can take this series?
Still, yes. Even without Muzzin, yes.
Yeah, and
They
what
won
kind of
games
loss-
without Muzzin.
Well, how do you, in terms of community defense, because that's what it's going to be without Jake Muzzin.
Yes.
What do you need to do to compensate for that a little bit?
Well, so here, the two-pronged. So one other thing that the Leafs did, I thought.
Okay, sorry.
So the Blue Jackets are a very counterattack sort of opportunistic team, and we saw that with the Cam Atkinson one. The defense just sort of let the forwards do their thing, I thought, and there seemed to be a lot more communication. It was 3 deep, 2 back. The Barry Dermott pairing gave me far fewer heart palpitations in this one.
They were strong. They were very strong.
Yeah, and I thought that sort of gave the Leafs the confidence to, we can just keep chipping away. We can keep doing our plan, and we will eventually crack these guys without fear of some catastrophic 2-on-1 or breakaway mistake. Now, what I said in my video about what they got to do without Jake Muzzin, you are not replacing Jake Muzzin with Martin Marincin. You're just not.
No.
You're not doing that thinking that it's a good idea and then it's going to help your hockey team win. It's going to be by committee, like you said, Adam. I think they should change the complexion of their D entirely. Now, what I said was CC Sandin as your third pair. We already know that's not going to happen. But my other 2 pairs, so you throw Marincin there with CC. I'm not sure you do that, but let's put that there as a placeholder.
2 guys that are going to dress and never see the ice.
Let's put that there as a placeholder, because I think Travis Dermott is actually the one who has to step it up in Jake Muzzin's absence. Put him with Justin Hall. The dermatologist pairing gets reunited. And Tyson Barrie has played nearly, like, regular season and playoffs. He's played nearly 600 games in the NHL. He was drafted in 2009. He's got the baby face. He's not a kid. Put him with Morgan Riley, and you need to be able to ride those guys.
For the 27, 28 minutes, because you're going to have to if you're going to have Marincin and CC in the lineup.
You're going to have to ride them.
Pair, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. You're going to have to ride them. You know, you maybe put a bit of a, I don't even know if you got to really put a leash on Barrie. They just have to have good communication, because it's not like Morgan Riley can't wheel. And Tyson Barrie, offensively, as advertised, was a disaster under Mike Babcock. He had 39 points. He was on pace for 45 after the start that he had. No, that's incredible.
Yeah, after Mike Babcock basically almost played him out of the NHL.
Right. And I know Leaf fans are down on him. There are 2 guys Leaf fans pick on, and I need you to get on their side, just because, for God's sake, they play for your hockey team. Mitch Marner, I know you're mad about the contract. He was great in game 2.
He was.
And Tyson Barrie.
Mad at Mitch Marner?
But are we supposed to forget he didn't show up for game 1?
I don't think he didn't show up for game 1. I don't think he was good. I wouldn't say he didn't show up. Mitch Marner fights it. We've talked about this before. Mitch Marner this team is in so many ways like Nazem Kadri, where you got to give him an assignment. And you give him an assignment and he's unreal. Mitch Marner last game felt like he had an assignment. You know what I mean? And it wasn't necessarily to create offense. It felt like he was playing a really smart 2-way game. Tyson Barrie, you got to give him an assignment. Fans got to get on his side, because, okay, if you don't want to re-sign him, Jesus, he's on the Leafs right now. And if they're going to do anything without Jake Muzzin in the lineup, he's played nearly 600 games. It's got to come from him. If it's what, you cannot put that on the shoulders of Travis Dermott, and you cannot put that on the shoulders of Justin Hall. Well, you can. It's the playoffs. You got to put it on the shoulders of whoever's in the lineup. But if I'm going down the list, I can't skip over Tyson Barrie.
Right.
Why not him? It's got to be him. I'm skipping over CC. That's the one I'm being disrespectful to.
Right.
But Tyson Barrie, he's got to step up in his absence. And it's just, Tyson Barrie is not a Jake Muzzin replacement. It's just the style's got to change a little bit.
Cody Ceci has not been good. Is not good. still trying to understand at this point, what the attachment is. It's not like there aren't better options, or you couldn't move him down the lineup. Like when I
You
look
could
at
go Marincin on the right and Marincin on the right and Sandin.
Yeah, but we've
Seriously.
been asking that since July.
we're clearly not going to do it.
Of July of 2019, and we haven't received an answer there.
I
don't get it.
I don't get it.
What I find, what I think might be interesting though is, obviously when you're in the playoffs, it's sort of shorten the bench, and the best players rise to the top and they get the most ice time, or at least that was the way it was supposed to be. And what was so scary about watching the Leafs before in previous years is that Mike Babcock straight up refused. He's like, no, everybody, this is Soviet Russia, 1962, and everybody is going to play the same amount. Everyone will have the same amount of ice time.
Yeah.
Whereas Sheldon Keefe plays the guys that are supposed to play and supposed to score. And, you saw that with the fourth line yesterday. They got on the ice and it was like, holy smokes, who put the Jets on Kyle Clifford, because he hasn't skated, right? It's been a couple periods since he threw that hit. Now, Jason Spetz, I think, took a penalty on that, but it was a pretty good shift before that. But what I'm trying to get at here is Joel Quenneville, and Chicago fans will recognize this, had a defenseman named Kimmo Timonen.
Sure did.
In his last year. Was not playing great.
No.
But
and I think he was hurt.
I think he was probably hurt as well.
The Blackhawks won a Stanley Cup with 3D.
Basically, it was Brent Seabrook, Duncan Keith, and who would have been
Johnny Oduya.
Johnny Oduya. That's right. And Kimmo Timonen would literally, you could look at the game sheet, he'd play like 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Oh, it might have been Halmerson as well. It's like 3.5 defensemen.
Yeah, Halmerson was awesome that playoffs. But you know what I'm saying? So you can ride those top four guys all the way through, especially if you think that you can close out this series. And if you look at the top four the Leafs have, even with Muzzin out of the lineup, I thought Justin Hall had a great game yesterday.
He did.
Including there was a player that I forget who it was on the Blue Jackets who tried to get around him, and it was a one-on-one, and Hall just moved him to the side, used the body. Justin Hall doesn't throw a lot of big hits, but he did use his 6'3" frame and his big stick and moved him out of the way, legally shut the play down. And he's done that a couple of times.
I don't remember the play, I don't remember the player. I remember the play.
Right.
It was a good play.
It was a good play, and it's the little things like that that make a big difference. So when you have Morgan Riley and Tyson Barrie and Travis Dermott, who are all high-skilled guys, having a guy like Justin Hall really sort of levels things out. And I think it limits the amount of time that you need to put a Martin Marincin on the ice because, listen, God bless him. We're hard on him. He's just not very good with a puck. So if, he might be able to steal a puck from somebody because that was his big thing. It's neutral zone takeaway.
Yes.
The problem is, what does he do when he gets it? And that's always an issue. And then, of course, Cody Cece's just clearly just not a fit for this team. Maybe somewhere else next year, but just don't get it. If you can limit the amount of time and the amount of touches that those two get and ride the other four, I think you're pretty good. On the other side, though, if you look at Columbus, even though this was not a good game for them, you got to be pretty excited if your goalie is Jonas Korpisalo.
Wow, man.
Like, even if it's not this year, for the future, you got to be excited.
Yeah.
If your goalie asks you for double digits in contract talks, you drive them to the airport yourself. Just holy cow. Like, you talk about development is a word that we often use, but it's way easier to, if you have not developed forwards properly, it's way easier to go into free agency and sign a guy or two. If you have not drafted defense properly, well, it becomes a little bit more difficult, but there's fewer spots. And if you have to, you can go out and get that guy. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you can go out and get that guy. If you need a goalie, it's so much harder. But you watch these teams out there who they just always seem to have a goalie. They make them themselves. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I don't know if anyone was more right to bet on themselves than them.
It's pretty amazing.
It's unreal that Sergei. Who would you rather have for one winner take all game? Sergei Bobrovsky or Jonas Korpisalo?
Right now, Korpisalo. However, Bobrovsky won this afternoon, and the Panthers are still in it. And I heard from Panthers fan, they call themselves Panthers fan number 7 in my DMs, and they said, "Suck it, Wild. And that was it.
I saw someone go, "Hey, I took offense to that." Signed Panthers fan number 6. I like that they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love that. I love that.
I like it.
And honestly, and all the Panthers fans that we always deal with, they're all hilarious. It's like Blackhawks
They
fans.
know.
They know. It's like Blackhawks fans, we make fun of them. They're like, we know. We know.
Yeah.
They also won 1 billion championships, so it really doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
The thing is, and we'll get to Bobrovsky later, the Columbus Blue Jackets, now, last year they didn't have any draft picks left. I think this year they're probably going to have some.
Let me check.
And they have a ton of cap space. And there's this guy named Taylor Hall who might be coming up.
No.
And listen, I said earlier, I think Taylor Hall's staying in Arizona because I think ownership and their president really need a win. So they're going to pull out all the stops to keep him. However, if for some reason there was another smaller market team who wanted to pay big bucks, Taylor Hall might be the guy you want to spend it on. Columbus might be the team that might want to spend it.
Oh, heavens. So the Columbus Blue Jackets have their first this year.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have their second or third. And in 2021, they do not have their second, but they have all the rest of their picks. The reason they don't have either of those seconds is because of a trade made on February 23rd, 2019. The Columbus Blue Jackets trade Anthony Duclair, a 2020 second and a 2021 second for Ryan Dzingel and a 2019 seventh.
Oh, tough deal.
Ooh,
they still got
a bad one.
Dude, they got in the second round.
Sure did, but that's a tough one.
They had to go for it. Go for it.
Well,
Rachel Dory, I think, was on the show, and she's like, "Listen, they had to, and she was right."
Where would they be without Ryan Dzingel's 1 goal and no assists in 9 games?
Oh, where would Carolina be without him now? I think he's in Carolina, isn't he?
The money just also doesn't seem to exist with only Devin Shore coming off the books this offseason. Like, I don't know where you find the money to pay Taylor Hall.
You don't think they have the money?
No, it'd be such a squeeze
in Columbus,
especially with in Columbus with the cap probably remaining flat. I think it'd be a tough squeeze.
Well, they have a lot of RFAs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot, they got to pay Dubois.
There's 0 UFAs.
Oh, that'll be expensive.
That's gonna hurt.
Be expensive.
0 UFAs is a thing.
That's gonna hurt. Otherwise, they're mostly. Oh, and Josh Anderson, they're gonna have to pay for that little short-term contract they had.
Oh yeah, they owe him big, and he had a great year until he got hurt. The question is, how hard? That's a Darren Ferris client, by the way.
Dubinsky on injured reserve. I don't know. Their situation's very interesting.
Will Josh Anderson sign with Zurich instead?
I mean,
Mitch Monroe did. So
if he doesn't sign with Zub first.
True. Good point.
Good
So, Steve, I hope you're ready because this is the first time that we're going to do this. We got our Frosted Flakes jerseys on. Woo!
I love it.
Now, we do our Selly of the Week on the first show of the week, which we did, which was Nazem Kadri, which was the best celebration ever. We've already got some nominations for Selly of the Week that are coming in, and please send it to us and tag Frosted Flakes in them on Twitter or on Instagram and your Insta stories, whatever works for you. We will reveal on Sunday after the Leafs game. However, midweek, we want to take trip back in time. We want to do the Steven, we're going to the best playoff goals of years past, the greatest celebrations of years past in the playoffs. And these are
celebrate with Frosted Flakes.
That's right. These are the
Thanks,
ones.
Tony the Tiger, my personal friend. Right.
These are the ones, Steve, that are your favorite, and we will go through these all the way through the playoffs, and there are so many to get to. But your first one, what's your first pick?
Does it have to be a Leaf one? Because I have two.
No.
Okay, good.
Just only do one.
I'm only going to do one.
Just do one.
I had one of each. I had one of each prepared just in case.
Wow, he did his prep work, Jesse. Do you believe that?
I sure did.
Or did
He
you
did it
just
10 seconds ago.
Did he come up with it right now, or did he think about it?
You'll never know, will you?
No, did he come up with it right now? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but he's like, this is what he does. Remember, you guys were gonna have that debate whether Montreal and Canadiens were good, and he did it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, when we used to record in your second bedroom.
Oh God, it was so hot.
Ugh. And we got the
Justin
Justin
Bourne
Bourne
sweat
Memorial
palace.
fan. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Justin was pretty sweaty. That was a hot day, though. Yeah, big room, little air conditioner. Okay, so Steven,
yes.
is your pick one of your favorite hockey celebrations of all time? And by the way, we will include a link to this celebration if we can find it on YouTube so you can watch it yourself. Steven.
Now,
one of
that's
my-
a reason for a cereal celly.
You're absolutely right there, Tony the Tiger. That is a reason for it. Can I get to it now, Tony? Okay, thank you, Tony the Tiger. I'm gonna get to it. I love this.
Go.
Okay, so this celly was a wonderful one, and what I love the most about it, guys, is I was there live and I didn't see it.
Oh, no. You're like Mitch Martin when he scored his first goal and his mom wasn't there. She was there.
Absolutely. Except I was in my seat. So what happened here? This was 2016.
This is Stanley Cup final?
Stanley Cup final, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
I was watching
Mike Darnay.
I was with Mike Darnay, photographer. I was there watching the Pittsburgh Penguins take on the San Jose Sharks. Now, if you remember, I want to say they pulled 24 different NHL writers, and all 24 predicted the San Jose Sharks would win the Stanley Cup that year.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, they were wrong. Because in game one, with the game tied 2-2, who scored? Nick Bonino. Bonino. And I missed that call because I was at the game. And what happened on the ice? What was the celebration like on the ice? No idea. Here's why. I was there as I wanted the Penguins to win, but like I don't have a passion for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I'm there because Mike Darnay offered, and I just wanted to finally experience the Stanley Cup final. I got fed up of waiting in Toronto. Here's what I saw. Puck goes in, horn, and it was like the arrows blotting out the sun in 300 because everyone jumps out of their seat, and this is what I saw. Like, this is all like, I was like scared. I'm like, my fight or flight reflexes kicked in because Pittsburgh Penguins fans were just losing their mind. Mike was chewing on his sweater the whole time, and then I think he practically ripped it off his chest like the Hulk. It was unbelievable, and what I remember most about that playoff celly is that I didn't even get to see it.
Wow.
And it is a
Steve's
great.
Thanks, personal friend Tony the Tiger.
Well, there you go. Steve Dangle, everybody, with a celly of Frosted Flakes celly of the past. Look at that. Look at that box.
When it's game time, don't flake on the frosted.
That's a great idea, Tony. That's a great idea. And Adam, when you asked me to come up with something, I didn't flake on you.
Ooh, ah.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
And I didn't make up a story. No artificial flavors or colors.
Oh, no.
man. Boo.
No.
I also didn't 25% iron. Sorry, I'm just reading the box at this point.
So there were some other things to talk about. Obviously today, as of right now, the Florida Panthers are still in it. They were up 3-1 on the Islanders. The Islanders came back a little bit in the second and third period, but Sergei Bobrovsky gets his first win with Florida Panthers in the playoffs. Could this be his last? There's a real possibility. There's a very real possibility that Sergei Bobrovsky is bought out this offseason. I don't think people are talking about that enough.
Bought out, Adam.
Yes, bought out.
Because
Very
people
real.
aren't talking about it because it's not a thing that's in
I think it's real. What are you gonna? Okay, so here's if you're Florida and he's played the way he's played, maybe you give him one more year because
Steve-
he is an on-off year guy.
Steve, can you do
But-
the buyout calculator while Adam's talking?
It would be insane.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm telling you that if he performs the same way next year, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
Lose.
Lose.
Yeah.
And they can afford to lose. I mean, listen, we talked to Doug Sifu years ago. That guy doesn't like to lose.
No.
Whoa.
What is it? What would it be?
What's the buyout calculator?
What would it be?
Okay. This is holy crap. So he'd be a very rich man. They'd still owe
he's
him.
going to be.
They'd owe him $47.5 million to not play for them. Oof, Maron.
And he'd go sign somewhere else and win a bunch of games. That's how it would happen.
His cap hit would be $5.833 million for 3 seasons before jumping to $6.833 for the next 3 seasons.
Oh.
And then 1.833 for 6 seasons.
Wow.
For a total of, holy crap, is that 12 years on the books?
At that number, you bite the bullet and you play the bad goalie.
Do you?
Yes. Instead of having a
for 8 years?
No, because you're gonna have
7 years.
You're gonna have a $6 million cap hit, plus you got to pay a goalie. Say it's $3 million.
Yeah.
So you're paying like $9 million on a cap hit for a goalie. You might as well just pay Bobrovsky to play for you.
Now, let's see how much this conversation changes. So let's say he is really bad next year. They play him next year.
And he's not good.
And he's not good. It actually changes pretty significantly in terms of money, like actual money owed.
Okay.
He's owed $37.5 million. Cap it's still real tough. It's not as bad, but it's real tough. 5.8 exactly for 2 years, and then upping to 6.8 for 3.
Ooh.
And then it's 1.8 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So the buyout length would go from 12 years to 10. And you'd have one fewer year of the 5.833, but boy, I think at this point you just got to really hope he's better.
Get him all the help you can.
All right.
You have to. You got to do what the Bruins did. You got to go out and get like a Yarrow Halak.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
With a global pandemic and Seattle coming in and all these changes, I'd like to see every team get a free buyout. That would just be fun for the chaos of the league. You go into this off season, you give every team, hey, if you want to buy out the contract, you don't have to pay for it. Just do it and you get it, and that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, and listen, if you can afford it,
what does it matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
every
I've
team
always
should
wondered
get one get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
I've always wondered why you wouldn't do that every season.
Yeah.
And because the players would for sure have to go for that. Because if you're like, look at what happened. Remember with Vinny LeCavalier, he was getting paid by 3 different teams.
I think
he was bought out and then bought out again. And then he played for Chicago. And it was like, this is stupid. Like it was Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. And then I think, wasn't that the setup?
Isn't Kessel getting paid by 3 teams right now?
Yeah, the Leafs, the Pens, and the Coyotes. Like it's stupid. But I think, and I mean, obviously that favors rich teams. I understand that. But again, we got to find ways, especially with the cap being flat, to sort some of this stuff out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
If there's anything, though, Adam, where you go, the players would go for that for sure. That's why it's not going to happen.
Right.
If it's too obviously in one favor and it's the players.
But it hamstrings the owners if they're not successful. Like, think about what this does to the Florida Panthers franchise. If they better develop a goalie then if he's not good enough.
Yeah, but the salary cap is there to prevent these contracts. Right. They're trying to at least incentivize. What's incentivize but the opposite?
No, you got it. You had it there.
Yeah. They're trying to make you not want to spend your money like a stupid. And the Panthers went out and spent their money like a stupid. And he'll never be worth it. Like, what would he have to do?
Maybe next year he's Carey Price in his prime.
That breaks even. That breaks even. He's making perennial Vezina nominee money. He was barely replacement level this year, though. So next year, if he gets nominated for the Vezina, then that's still only 50%. Like, we're talking about he can't dig himself out of this hole contractually for a couple years unless they win the cup. It's bad.
Oh, it is bad. There's no question it's bad.
It's so weird, though, that Dale Talon would like make a bad hockey decision. This is really weird.
Steve, he won a cup once.
And is probably like the best at phone conversation in the league.
What's the worst contract in the National Hockey League?
How is
one?
it that? How could it not be that?
Right. I think this year it had to be Bobrovsky.
Yeah, right.
But again, Bobrovsky, and this is, again, probably it was just play, but Bobrovsky's the reason Todd Richards was fired from Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turned it around, and so did the team, weirdly, right?
And the Leafs take a lot of crap for the signing bonus stuff, but like I'm looking at Bobrovsky's contract structure. This year, his base salary is $4 million, signing bonus 7.5. Next year, base salary 6, signing bonus 6. Next year, base salary 6, signing bonus 6. Signing bonus 6, signing bonus 6, or base salary 6. The first year where his base salary is larger than his signing bonus is 24-25.
So he's somewhat buyout-proof too because of that.
Yeah.
It makes it really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it really hard for the buyout to make sense for you. Wow. It's bad. Tradable. No, not really, man. Like,
No.
who has that kind of space? This isn't Pavel Datsyuk and his ghost. It's one of the worst contracts in the NHL right now. And will he return to Vezina form? He has to, otherwise it's a mess.
I do find it funny that the two teams that wanted him the most are playing right now, and he's a good reason why one of them is not doing as well. Varlamov has had a rebirth, and I wonder I forget the Islanders goalie coach's name, but he's the guy that revived Robin Lehner's career as well.
That's Steve Briere.
I think it is. Is it Steve Briere? Anyway, he's obviously done a really great job, and Varlamov was pretty good for a long time. And had some spectacular years, but he's really come on strong with the Islanders again, as did Robin Lehner. And I wonder what Bobrovsky would have looked like on the Islanders with a really strong goalie coach.
And Thomas Greiss was awful, and he's a pretty reliable backup now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what he's done with them, because that is a bizarre position that I wouldn't even begin to try to understand. To me, all I know about goaltending is just try to be there positionally, and hopefully the puck hits you in the face. Like, that's it, right? Like, there was Korpisalo saves last night against the Leafs, where it's like he just happened to be in the right spot, right?
Oh, boys, we got an answer. So 34 seconds ago, the Leafs tweeted out the forward lines are the exact same, so Engvall stays in.
Okay.
Janssen is practicing with the main group. That's interesting.
That's good. Good news.
He's an extra. And the defense pairings are, they listed it in this order.
Okay.
Travis Dermott and Justin Hall. Morgan Riley.
Dermatologist.
Yeah, Morgan Riley and Cody Ceci and Marincin Barry.
That is going to be wild.
I'm excited.
One master puck handler, one who cannot at all. What will happen? What will happen? Hey, at least it's not on the right side this time. It's the left side that's a bit wacky. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And
at least if Muzzin's back for next series, and if the Leafs can get there, that'd be great.
Right.
Let's move on.
And just one thing to fill in, because before you were asking about the Muzzin quarantine situation, since he left, now that he has returned to his room, he has to quarantine for 4 days. And those 4 days, he has to have 4 consecutive negative tests. And once he's has those 4 negative tests, then he's all cleared and good to go.
That's so annoying.
That's from Kevin McGran.
Well, that's life, right? That's the way it
That's
goes.
okay.
That sucks. It is what it is.
Well, he's not going to play in the series anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not playing.
Like,
so,
4 days doesn't even take
but-
him to the end of this series. Like, this series would end on Sunday if it went 5 games, you know?
Really? Would it?
Yeah, because it's back-to-back Thursday, Friday.
What?
Yeah,
Yep.
Back-to-back
Oh,
Thursday, Friday.
no.
For Leafs in Columbus.
Whoa.
I think it's going to play a little bit of a factor. I don't think people have thought about the back-to-backs yet. You know, these guys run in every day, and then all of a sudden you got to play back-to-back hockey games after going back every other day. It's going to be fun.
Well, and also, like, is Freddie going to play both?
He's got to.
He's got to.
Yeah, like,
I
you're
mean,
going to play your
that's the
backup
thing.
goalie in a
No, he
playoff
doesn't.
game.
No, he does.
That's what the Hurricanes just did in an elimination game.
Yeah,
It's
but
not the same.
Yeah, no.
It's
The
not the same.
Hurricanes don't have a starter like Freddie. They don't.
That's true. That's true.
And this isn't Mike Babcock.
Yeah. The Hurricanes have one goalie and then James Reimer, you know, who's like,
Ow. Woo! Woo!
Crazy. There he is. You do not
So-
talk trash about the $60 James Reimer figure.
Yeah, well, the next series we got to talk about Montreal and Pittsburgh. This goes again today at 8:00 tonight. So by the time you're hearing this, it'll be a little bit out of date, but we should mention it anyway. Pittsburgh coming back, 3-1 win a couple of days ago. They're going to play again tonight, obviously, and then if there is a game 5, game 4, game 5 would be back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. From this series, I mean, is game 2 more indicative? I mean, it seemed to be more indicative of what we thought this series was going to be. Do you see that continuing?
You know what I see continuing is the 5-12 matchups continue to be the tightest in the entire playoff.
Weird, isn't it? It's weird.
Incredibly weird. Incredibly weird. Well, I mean, yes, Adam, it's more indicative because it's insulting to the Montreal Canadiens. There's no reason the Pittsburgh Penguins should lose the series. There's none. Absolutely none, unless there is something we are totally unaware of. There is no reason. They are better than the Montreal Canadiens in every respect, except maybe in net. By the way, am I wrong for saying Tristan Jarry should be starting?
I think he should, but
is he hurt? Did I miss something?
I mean, I think they're going with Matt Murray because he's won a couple cups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an easy justification to make. The guy won a couple cups.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 2 teams went into game 1 of their series. Actually, both 5 seeds went into game 1 of their series and decided not to start their best goaltender because their second best goaltender has a history of playoff success. Both teams lost. One team switched and won. The other team did not, and he played extremely well, and they won. I mean, Mike Smith was the obvious mistake there for Edmonton. Dude was sub 900. What are you doing? But Matt Murray had a really, really bad year. Tristan Jarry was in the All-Star game. So I don't know, maybe all these months off have been a reset for Murray, but the series kind of goes through him because if he's fine, they win. Montreal could play their absolute best and lose this series because they should. So it all kind of falls on Matt Murray.
It does. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the last series, which wrapped up yesterday. This is in the Eastern Conference anyway. New York, Carolina, exactly how we drew it up. Oh, me. Carolina.
I'm an idiot. Like,
Yeah, same.
What do you want? What do you want,
Yeah.
folks? I'm sorry. It's so stupid.
It's so funny because Steve is such a huge James Reimer fan and bets against his team.
I know. Well, listen, if the Leafs, I rarely pick a team. If the Leafs get eliminated, though, I am absolutely 100% full-blown Carolina Hurricanes fan. I want James Reimer to get his ring, and I'm going to campaign for David Ayres to get a ring.
You can take your seat behind me on that bandwagon because I think that is a scary, scary hockey team. They executed so well. It was amazing. Do you really have a David Ayres or
They sent it to me without me asking.
Wow.
Carolina Hurricanes.
Is that
They're
insulting?
jerks.
They're
Yes, it is actually.
I think that's a
they sent
little
us those bunch of
insulting.
jerks t-shirts too.
They did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who gave you my address?
You did. You DM'd it.
I did. I like free things, but whatever.
The
That's
Carolina
very
Hurricanes
funny.
Twitter account listens to us, right? Or something like that.
I don't know.
I think
There
they're
was a
aware
time
of
where
us.
Yeah.
There was a time where the Penguins one did.
Because they winked at us when we asked them to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blink if you're listening.
Yeah, and they blinked.
That was very funny.
That was a good
Yeah,
day.
you get there from time to time. You're like, wow, all right. But yeah, I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes and everybody was. I mean, the Tony D'Angelo, like, wow, did he get
Yeah.
walked? Like that was unbelievable. But the thing was, and I think it was Pete Blackburn that pointed this out. What was Jake Trouba doing on that? Did you see him?
Awful.
Awful. That was bad. That was just
that a
bad
pair?
coverage.
Is that a pair?
I guess it is.
2 righties?
I guess
You're
That's a
allowed
good
to do
problem
that
to
in
have.
hockey. You know?
I know you're allowed, but like, is it ideal? And the answer seemed to be a resounding no.
But I think the interesting thing, and let me say this: the New York Rangers did not start King Henrik for that last one. He played 125 straight games for the Rangers in the playoffs. They did not start him. We talked about that on the last show.
What an unbelievable goalie.
Unbelievable goalie, but I think that game 2 sort of proved it. That was, to me, that's the line in the sand. The King Henrik era is over. He will be there next year. He will be on the roster. He'll play another year. He will. But he is now squarely the backup.
Can I take bets on that? Can I take bets on that he won't play for the Rangers next year?
You don't think he's going to play for the Rangers next year?
No. Another
He's
team.
Okay, how is another team going to pick up an $8 million Henrik Lundqvist?
I see that the Rangers have 2 brand new young spring chicken starting goalies that they're going to run with.
Spring chicken.
You ship out King Henrik and you bring in the fresh blood.
They're not going to ship out King Henrik because they wouldn't do that to his legacy. Number 2, no one's going to take him.
Adam, where's Tom Brady playing this year?
Well, King Henrik has another year left. Tom Brady does not.
Yes, he does. So
Tom Brady didn't, though. He was a free agent.
No, but I'm saying they have replacements for him.
I know they do, and they should have replaced. But I'm just saying, who is going to take Henrik Lundqvist? Even at $4 million.
Anybody who's Seattle, like anybody who's desperate for a goalie.
Ooh,
can I just point
you'd
out?
expose Henrik Lundqvist? By the way, I don't know if you can because he might have a no trade in his deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
He might have a no trade.
But I'm saying, what did Steve start this podcast off with? Goaltending is so hard to
I thought
find.
it was Martin Marincin, big brain.
But
Actually,
after that,
what did he say?
Goaltending is so hard to find that you're going to find a taker for Henrik Lundqvist.
Can I point out that they also
would
have
be
a
mean.
22-year-old goalie prospect who put up unreal numbers at UMass Lowell this year, whose name is Tyler Wall.
They got 3. They got
It's too
3
good.
goalies.
Too good to be true.
They just keep making goalies over there. Man, hand it to the Rangers. Good year. Really good year.
Yeah.
Much better
Oh, yeah.
than they should have been. And yes, they are Artemi Panarin and his band of merry men, as I saw so eloquently put on Twitter. Really, that's what the Rangers are. But they've got strong goaltending. They've got Artemi Panarin and some pretty good support pieces and some young guys coming along. I'm excited to see what the Rangers do for the next few years. They're an exciting, fun team to watch, and you can root for them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I'm looking at their team, and we praise them so much for how young they are, how well they've rebuilt. Goaltending, they're set. What did the Leafs do to get out from Patrick Marleau's contract? They traded
a first-round pick.
I'm looking at the Rangers. They've had a ton of draft picks. This year, they have 2 in the first round. They don't have a second, 2 in the third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, 3 in the seventh. The next year, they have their own first, their own second, 2 thirds, 2 fourths. Why not spend a little bit of that, since you've done such a good job with your picks? Spend a little bit of that and see if Henrik Lundqvist would go somewhere else.
Yep.
I'm also...
I wouldn't trade a first pick. You'd have to trade a first.
I'm a little confused as to how it works with him, because if you sign a player to a contract when they're over 35, too bad, so sad. If they retire, you're stuck with the full hit.
Yeah.
With Lundqvist, because he signed before he was 35, I don't know if it works that way.
It's not the same. No.
I don't know. Yeah, but he's only got the 1 year. He's only got the 1 year left.
It would be awfully nice if the Rangers could spend $8 million on, I don't know, Taylor Hall.
I'm gonna buy this.
I'm just gonna keep
contract
bringing up
out.
Taylor Hall's name.
Just do it. I'm gonna buy out his contract right now. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, okay. Next year it's 5.5 against the cap, and then the next year it's 1.5, and then it's over.
See, I'd rather take the 5.5 hit than lose a first round pick.
Yeah, me too. I would do that.
But I don't. Again, or he retires. But he's not going to. If you're, I mean, he's got a bazillion dollars anyway. But like, if you're him, it's like, no, I'm showing up, man. Or I'm on the long-term injury reserve, which he might do for them. You could have a conversation with him and say, listen, Henrik, I'm sure you got an injury we can put on the chalkboard. We're going to send you to Robidas Island. It's very comfortable there. Big money.
I love that Cap Friendly answers the dumb questions that I want to know the answer to. Estimated career earnings for Henrik Lundqvist. Anyone want to take a stab?
$100 million.
No.
Jesse?
75.
Adam was closer to right, but he went over. So Price is Right rules. Jesse wins. $98,283,390.
Yeah, but you need that extra $8 million Just in case. You do.
I mean, he does probably have an apartment in Manhattan. So
Yeah, that's still like 8% of your career earnings in 1 year. I think you should probably take it.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Who's going to turn down $8 million? Even if you're a billionaire, you're not turning
Steve
down
would.
$8 million.
No, Steve Dangle.
I mean,
Steve would, because Steve's good. Steve and David Pasternak, because David Pasternak doesn't care, he just loves hockey.
I do podcasting for the love of it, and I make video blogs for the love of it. I just love it. That's why I don't put a lot of tape on my headphones.
I'm kidding. I'm going after David Pasternak. He doesn't deserve it. I'm just joshing you.
No, then do it for free.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Take the dare. Put up or shut up, Dave. Give it all back.
Chicago Blackhawks, Edmonton Oilers. You may be listening to the show tonight as the game is happening. It starts at 10:30 Eastern time. Game 3, the Oilers came roaring back. They look like the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Connor McDavid did everything.
But isn't that what it's going to be?
Yeah. No, it is. It is. But, oh my God, that's the best player in the league.
No, it's
like,
not
you know
even
how-
a question.
Yeah, you know
And
how
who's
we hem
questioning
and
that?
haw. Like, no, but I am always reluctant to give the Sidney Crosby torch over to Connor McDavid. No, Connor McDavid is skating circles around Crosby with that torch. That doesn't mean Crosby, you know, knowing him, he could win this year. He could win the Conn Smythe. Sidney Crosby could win the Stanley Cup this year and the Conn Smythe. He will not be a better hockey player than Connor McDavid is currently. He's not. Connor
not
McDavid is
that-
a freak of nature.
It's not that Sidney Crosby's fallen off. It's that Connor McDavid is that special.
Yep.
He's now, if you put, 25-year-old Crosby up against 25-year-old, okay, fine, but that's all fantasy discussion. Right now, Connor McDavid is the best player, far and away, the best player in the National Hockey League.
Far
Far and away.
4 goals in the first 2 games in the play-in round.
Including a goal 19 seconds into a must-win game. And he had 2 goals in less than 5 minutes
Mhm.
to start a must-win game.
Yep.
One of them of which was a funeral.
Yeah.
Why was
That's a good way to describe it.
Why would you describe
That
it
man
like that, guys?
cremated Oli Mata on national television. Holy cow. That was shocking. That was unbelievable. And how many guys has he cremated this year? He does it for fun. He gets a sick pleasure out of it. Don't make Connor McDavid mad. He's not the enthusiastic, fun-loving dude with the inspirational quotes. His inspiration is he takes opposing hockey players and lights them on fire. And if you're one of the Oilers sitting on the bench or 50 feet behind him because you can't keep up, watching that and you can't get inspired by it, get out of the league. You should be able to win a Stanley Cup with that player. You should be able to take the Wheeling Nailers and put it behind Connor McDavid and win a Stanley Cup.
The who?
He's the fastest kid alive.
Wheeling Whalers.
The Wheeling Nailers. It's a real team.
Nailers. Sorry.
Wheeling Nailers. It's
Like
a
Dave
real
Naylor?
hockey team name.
Not like Dave Naylor. No. Imagine they just had Dave Naylor on their jersey.
Wheeling
That's what
Nailers.
I like to picture.
Dave Naylor doing a CFL report on the Wheeling Nailers jersey.
Hi, live from Winnipeg. I'm Dave Naylor, and this is my team.
Dave Naylor, TSN. Better network.
Better know. 311. Bell 5.
Okay, no. Rogers Infinite. I'm never going to not talk into my remote ever again. It's the best. It's the best thing.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Snarky ass.
Now, has Chicago won all the games they're going to win in this one?
Oh.
Sure doesn't look like it, man. Like, even though McDavid was that dominant, it was sort of tight towards the end.
Right.
Crawford didn't allow the greatest goal. But, like, if you get game 1 Crawford, like, this one could go 5. This one could go 5.
Okay.
It's just like Montreal could play their best and lose. I think if Chicago plays their absolute best, they could win.
Yeah.
But if Edmonton
I have a
loses
hard
to
time believing it.
Chicago,
that's
like,
that's
come
awful.
on.
That's awful.
Tough.
Well, okay. And this is a lot of teams that suffer disappointment in these play-ins, and it's going to be someone, right? Particularly the 5 seeds. It's going to be interesting. I made my argument for the Leafs that if they lose, they will have lost the same way that they've lost every game for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is reason to look at significant change. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, do you just throw your hands up, say a few swear words, and go into the next season?
I think you have to.
I kind of think you do.
Options.
Yeah.
I kind of think you do. You just go,
and also you start Mikko Koskinen. You start who they did, and they won. What a shock.
Yep.
Now, he wasn't great, but he wasn't Mike Smith.
Listen, none of us said he was great. No. But like he's at least league average. He was very good this year.
That's all Edmonton needs.
All you need.
Give me league average. League average. That's all you should need. If you built a good team, there's going to be 2 or 3 teams that have a great goaltender. But those teams, especially as those goaltenders start to really hit their prime, are going to spend a good chunk of their money on the goalie. Right? What you want is a league average goaltender and bananas superstar Connor McDavid.
One of my favorite guys that I see pop up on my Twitter every now and then is Grant Fuhr, because people just crap on him for, you had crappy numbers and anyone could win cups behind Gretzky's Oilers.
80s. Who had good numbers in the 80s?
Well, there's that. But he's like, people go, anyone could have won on the Gretzky Oilers. And he's like, anyone could have, I did.
Right.
And like just holds up all the rings. And he's just like, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm a champion. Yeah. You just blow it out shove your. There are very few people in the world that I think can say shove your numbers up your ass and not sound like a jerk. Grant Fuhr is one of them. He's fully entitled to tell you to shove your numbers up your ass.
And he went on to have a pretty solid career, with the Leafs for like 3 seconds, and then really
annoying with the
solid.
Blues.
He had a solid '90s career with the St. Louis Blues. Yeah. They were always in it. Always. They made the playoffs 30 years in a row, and they were they were the preeminent second round team, which they have remained until last year, where they actually won.
Oh,
but they were. I mean, there was the Shane Corson and Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hull, and like there was Brendan Shanahan was there, Craig Conroy when he was a younger player. You look Chris Pronger, Al McInnes. That was a good franchise for a long, long time. I want to move past. What?
One thing with Grant Fuhr that I'm looking at, won the Vezina in 1988 with an .881 save percentage.
What?
And it was one of the bottom 5 worst save percentages of his career. But he won the Vezina. Played in 75 games and won 40 of those friggin' things.
Wins, baby, wins. The Vancouver Canucks and Minnesota Wild, who, as Canucks and Wild fan pointed out to us last show, we forgot to cover. We're like, we're done all this series, right? Yeah, we're done here, and we didn't even talk about them. I thought,
sorry,
if we're talking about boring series in the West,
it's just a lot of green, guys. I'm sorry.
A lot of green.
Not allowed to talk about a series with that much green.
What is the Vancouver Canucks are a young-ish team, and they couldn't score one.
They're young.
I mean, they are a young team, except for the old guys that they've signed that are going to clog up their salary cap once the offseason hits.
Then there's that.
The weird thing to me was they couldn't score goals in game 1. Minnesota won 3-0. So they moved Brent Sutter up and dressed Jake Virtanen, and that was the trick.
You can't knock them for something that works, you know?
Well, it did work, but
it's like
guys, our big move is let's move Brent Sutter up a line.
You know, it got it done.
Oh no, and Louis Eriksson dressed. So
man,
on the second line.
I don't know how many more people have been more instrumental in the Leafs rebuild than the Vancouver Canucks for taking Jake Virtanen ahead of William Nylander.
Oh,
we should thank them forever.
At least could have taken Ehlers.
They could have taken Ehlers. I just remember back-to-back picks. The Canucks went Virtanen, and the Hurricanes went Hayden Fleury.
Oh.
And the Leafs were able to get Nylander. The Jets got Ehlers, and it changed both teams forever.
It did.
Ooh, he's not even a regular in the lineup anymore, Virtanen?
No, he didn't play game 1. So they took out Gaudette, and I forget who else was or maybe Virtanen.
Toffoli, anyway. He's hurt.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But it was a good emotional win for the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, I don't know who you give the edge to in this series, and they don't play again till tomorrow. It's an odd one because Minnesota plays that boring style, but they were able to score 3 goals in the first game and then able to score 3 goals in the second game. And, you have to wonder with the Canucks, they are sort of built with some of these guys, the Jay Beagles and that sort of thing. They are built for grinding a little bit in the playoffs, or at least the bottom half of the lineup is. I would have thought that Vancouver was going to walk over Minnesota in this, but it doesn't seem to be the case. How do we see the rest of the series playing out? Like, I don't even know. Game 3 feels like a toss-up.
It is a toss-up. I mean,
you can say that with any series, but this one really, there's no feeling one way or the other.
No, it's really hard to read because the Canucks had a really sort of up and down season, but most of the down was when Jakob Markstrom was out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. So with him, I think they should be able to beat anybody. I wouldn't make him the favorite in a lot of series, but they should be able to beat anybody with the star power of Elias Pettersson and goaltending like Jakob Markstrom gave them. Because, in the sort of outside Vezina conversation and outside never going to get nominated for the MVP, but should maybe be sort of looked at as the MVP, that was Markstrom's sort of season. Minnesota was the hottest team in the league, I think, or one of them heading into the break, but that momentum died months ago. So I would go with the team that I think is the best out of the two, just on paper, which is the Canucks. But
more high-end talent on the Canucks, I would say.
Way more high-end talent on the Canucks. And another thing, it's an interesting time to be an older player in the league, because you would expect them by the spring to be worn down a bit. And the Wild have a lot of those guys. Eric Stahl, Myrtle talked about the hard miles on his body. And how many years ago was that he said that on the show?
It was when he was winding down in Carolina, and he had a 35 goal a year, I think, since then.
That guy was on Carolina so long that I have to adjust to the fact that he's on the Wild, and he's been there for like half a decade.
Right.
Zach Parise is another older guy, Ryan Suter, but they won't have the same wear and tear that they typically do because they've had all these months and months and months off. So it's sort of an advantage for them. And those guys are much more important parts of their team than any of the old guys are on the Canucks. So I give my edge to the Canucks, but it's this is
more of a toss-up.
Complete jump ball.
One thing I remembered while watching the series was that Minnesota traded Jason Zucker for a first in Galchenyuk in February because they were just selling.
Right?
And now Galch is on the team, and they got that first round pick from Pittsburgh, and Jason Zucker's out the door. And this is a team who didn't expect to be in this position, I don't think, even though they were charging towards the playoffs at the end of the pause of the regular season. But I don't think they expected to be here, just battling in 2 games away from the first round or whatever it technically is.
Well, and do you remember us just taking an absolute dump sandwich on Paul Fenton for basically all the moves he made?
Kevin Fiala?
Mm-hmm. Well, and Kevin Fiala was one of them. So, oh my God. So I'm just looking.
Kevin Fiala's looked good.
So here's the season he had, though. From January 9th till February 1st, he had 3 assists in 8 games. That's it. 3 assists in 8 games. From that, 2 goals, goal and an assist, a goal and assist, a goal, 2 assists, nothing, goal, nothing, goal and assist, goal and 2 assists, goal and an assist, goal and an assist, goal and an assist, 1 assist, nothing, 2 goals.
Kind of hot.
He was a little hot. He was one of the hottest players in the NHL.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. He was almost money in the bank for a goal and an assist per game.
That's pretty good. Stupid. We'll see. And getting to the last series, which is actually kind of going on right now. Well, actually, we've got 2. We've got Arizona, Nashville, which is in play right now. I believe currently Arizona is up. So we'll ignore that for now because it'll be outdated anyway. Winnipeg came roaring back in game 2 versus Calgary. Game 3, Calgary dominated 6-2. Next game's tomorrow. Is this series over?
This is how fast this has all been moving. Did you just say Calgary won game 3, 6-2?
Last night. They played 2 games in a row.
I had no
back to
idea. I had no idea.
Adam's most favorite player in the universe, Connor Hellebuck, did not look that great.
He didn't. And, did you see his press conference though, Jesse?
No. I did see the time he tried to save the puck with his rear end.
Right. Which, you know what? If I was a goalie, I would do
see
that too.
this.
But I got junk in that trunk. So here's what I would say. Connor Hellebuck is pissed. Let in 6 goals. So he goes on to the press conference, and hockey players never do this. It's one of the best piece of audio from the playoffs so far. Torts got a lot of play yesterday. This was way better. And this is why I love Connor Hellebuck. He is quickly becoming my favorite non-Leaf in the NHL. He's awesome. He's up there with his long hair and his goatee, looking like a big furry animal man.
Oh,
and he says they're going to have to scratch and claw for every goal from here on out.
I say they take game 4.
Goalies are superstitious. Goalies are very anxious. Goalies are weird. And NHL players never say things like that. Never. And Connor Hellebuck's telling the Calgary Flames, good luck. You're never going to get another game like that. That is the kind of guy that I want on my team, assuming he backs it up. And he's been backing it up all year, and he's backed it up all the way into the play-ins. He would have made the playoffs. I think Connor Hellebuck, guys, he is the player to watch in game 4 and potentially game 5. If Winnipeg pulls it out, it's all on him. And what kind of play is that quote going to get if they do? Now, not to denigrate Calgary, they look like what the Flames should look like. Yeah. The Flames should win this series against the Jets, especially with no Laine and Scheifele. The Flames should win this series. And we talked about that in the preview show. We were saying, listen, it's not that the Flames aren't extremely talented. It's just that their players haven't shown up. But I'm going to look at the game 3 game sheet here. I'm going to pull it up right now and see. Let's see who scored for the Flames. We got Lindholm should be scoring. Backlund, Monahan, Tkachuk, and Milan Lucic had one called back and then scored one later. And then Johnny Gaudreau scored an empty netter. Those are the names that you need to have come up if you are the Calgary Flames if you're going to win. Those are the guys, all of them.
And I don't regret my Jets pick based on the lineup that they went into game 1 with. I thought they were the better team. And then that lineup changed significantly, and I give it to the Flames now.
If Laine shows up, if Laine shows up for game 4, even if I told you before game 1, there's no Scheifele for this series, does that change your pick?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. 100%.
He's a great
Mark
player,
Scheifele he's a game breaker. He's a top center in this league. Mm-hmm. And a top player for the Jets who have, they've done a great job. They lost Trouba, Bufflin, and Myers this offseason.
That's wild.
They're here. They're here.
Wild.
So, but a guy like Mark Scheifele is going to be the guy. So it just seems like a little bit of bad luck following the Jets around. But Connor Hellebuck, man, wow, it was the kind of quote that I'm like, yes, thank you. Someone said something interesting in the playoffs. Now let's see him back it up. Now we did see something very interesting before the Dallas-Vegas game. Now they're in the play-ins because they're good teams. They get to do that stuff. And we're really not covering the play-ins too much because who cares?
Oh,
you're seated for who gets home ice advantage. Who cares?
I keep getting caught. I keep getting stuck St. Louis, Colorado. That's a great series. No, it's not.
It's not.
One game and it's done.
It could be in a couple months.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Maybe in mid-September it will be.
Yeah.
But it's not right now. So during that game, we finally saw some players kneel.
Yes.
Ryan Reeves, Robin Lehner, I believe Tyler Seguin,
and
Jason Dickinson. It finally happened. What was it like for you guys to see that? Was it sort of a relief? Is it too little too late? Is it we're making progress? How does it feel to you?
Like I said last show, kneeling, it feels significant because of the value people who care about it have placed onto it. It means something. So the fact that the players are willing to do it, it definitely it definitely means something. But you want to see all the guys down there. You want to see them all linked arms with their knees on the ground, all supporting the movement, And it's a great start. You can't knock the guys for doing it. Like, it must take so much cojones to stand up as a hockey player when all of your brothers in the locker room don't want to do anything to push a needle. And then those guys go out there and they do that. So you got to commend them for that. It's cool to see.
Steve?
Well, good to see. I don't know. It's interesting. I thought that it was 2 players per team. Like, it's almost like one guy on each team was like, listen, I kind of want to do this. Can someone please join me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the impression I got. So if I'm guessing, it's Reeves and Leonard was like, I'll join you. And it was Seguin and Dickinson's like, I'll join you. That's totally me guessing. I saw people go, wow, what a character arc for Robin Leonard and for Tyler Seguin. Now, I'll spend a little time on Seguin first. I guess people really didn't like early career Tyler Seguin, and he was a bit of an idiot. Like, he got busted for parties and stuff, and I think he missed practice a few times, and obviously there's a reason the Bruins traded him, although we make fun of them for that reason, and it was a mistake. He had a couple really dumb tweets, but it was never like, I even spoke to some people when he did that stuff, and they were never like, oh yeah, he's fucking idiot. They were always like, ugh, Tyler, because they expect better of him. And I think he just had a growing up problem. And if you go and look at the receipts from like the last half decade or so, like this is Tyler Seguin.
Yeah.
This is Tyler Seguin.
Oh, he just was a party boy. Listen, if I was talented at anything and I had the kind of spotlight I had, this is a Toronto kid who was almost drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs and went to Boston, big spotlight there as well. I would have had the same things attached to me. I was partying like that at that age. I just didn't have the money or the talent or the good looks, frankly. So, I was irresponsible and stupid at that age. That happens.
Yeah.
You need
grow out of it.
You need to grow out of it. And you do.
You always talk about the receipts, Adam. Talk about the receipts. And to me, Tyler Seguin has the receipts. As for Robin Leonard, a lot of people were like, aren't you a Trump supporter? And because I want to say he had like Trump on his mask.
He did.
At one point. He has obviously since said, and I didn't see this, but he said he's not anymore. And if you want to talk about, a gesture you can do, you can be one of the first 4 players to, or I guess first 5. Sorry, you got to include Matt Dumba. Obviously, he was the first. If you're one of the first 5 players to kneel in the National Hockey League, that's a hell of a place to start.
The one thing I did feel bad for is after the game, and I guess I don't know why these guys feel the need to do this, but I did feel bad for Ryan Reeves because he still felt the need to explain. Yeah. So I'm going to read a little bit of the quote, and it's abbreviated, but he said, I have the utmost respect for everybody that's gone over and fought and died for freedom of this country. But at the same time, those people go across the seas, they go to war. Families are torn apart in these wars for freedom, for the freedom of this country, only to come back and find out that this country isn't free for everybody. That's where I'm coming from. And it's too bad. I mean, I guess in a movement like this, change is slow, and you do have to keep re-explaining things, which has got to be extremely frustrating. But I like, it's sort of like every time it's almost like, well, listen, I don't want to offend anybody, but here's why I have to do this. And even Ryan Reeves is like, guys, just to clarify, I feel like, come on, man, like, get it, like, just own it. And it's not Ryan that I'm criticizing. It's like, this is not hard. This isn't a hard concept.
People in the military listen to this show, and they listen to it abroad. Mm-hmm. And they know that the countries that they represent in the military do not, the militaries that they represent, do not own their country. That's not how it works.
All right.
It's never about I'm so sick of people moving the goalposts. And And they just, out of thin air, bring the military into it. What? It was never about them. Stop it. Stop
Also,
it.
the flag isn't
Stop
just
it.
about the military either. The flag is about everyone.
The military does not own the country. The military does not own the flag. The military owns the military. Or no, the country owns the military, I think.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly how it works. All I know is all the things that you're bringing up that are allegedly being disrespected have nothing to do with the conversation.
Right.
Nothing.
And just on Leonard for a second there, I think it's Drew Brees, it's Kendall Coyne, and now it's Robin Leonard. Like, those are the things you want to see out of the movement. You want to see people's minds changing, and you want to see people start understanding what is happening. And it's not about the military or the flag or anything disrespect. It's just about not being racist, and how that's such a that seems like such a simple concept, but we have to but then you see these powerful statements about people like Drew Brees's, where he came around, he's like, oh, now I get it. It's so simple. It's not disrespect at all. And like those are the things especially from the sporting world, that give me like the most hope when you see the minds being changed, because the people who are oppressed, the people who have lived it, we understand. Like, we're not changing our own minds about it. We're already on.
Are you sure?
I think I'm a little sure.
I mean, Jesse, you got to keep an open mind. Racism.
Yeah.
You know, have you given it a shot? I'm kidding.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my God.
It's about slowly affecting enough change and making enough noise that the other side comes around to support those who are already on the side of not being racist.
Right. And I saw something that I think summarized what this is about, in terms that it made it very simple for me. And if this is still a tough concept for you, it's more than just, guys in white hoodies at KKK rallies. The idea here is that there is a system that unfairly targets minorities, right? And the protest thing is more than just the outward, like David Duke, weirdo racist cretins who are like living online and posting hateful things, because a lot of those people, frankly, have a lot more issues than just that. A lot of that racism can be symptomatic of other bigger problems, and mental health experts can talk to you about that. Beyond that, we're talking about day-to-day systemic racism. What does that mean? And in this particular thing said, if everybody in the country wasn't a racist, if everybody in the country was anti-racist, which is almost impossible to achieve, but if it was, the system would still unfairly target minorities. That's the problem. If you take all the racist people out of it, the system is not built to function for everyone. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Wow, Adam, why don't you just blow your nose with the flag?
Anyway, I just thought if anybody's still struggling with the concept, that's what it is. No. And if you would like to know more, feel free to DM me, because I've read a ton of stuff on colonialism and would love to talk to you about it. Mm-hmm. Love to. There's so much great information out there, and I could recommend a few podcasts to you so you can check it out. And it's just history, and you can read some books and listen to some podcasts, and it's very interesting listening and reading, and you'll understand how, this isn't just some made up thing. This is a real thing that happened over hundreds of years, and we're trying to undo it, and we're trying to undo it in a very quick amount of time. Yeah. It's going to take some time, though.
And
anyway,
with those things, like with the entire system comes a little all those other branches that people are trying to eliminate, just like recognizing that every day people of color are disadvantaged, and not thinking like, hey, I look at everybody the same, because we're not the same, because the system doesn't afford everybody the same opportunities. And like those things lead to just things like microaggressions, like you're trying to eliminate those things, and all these conversations are coming to light. And these are things that everybody's trying to eliminate and trying to fix in our society. And it's going to take a long time, but the more we talk about it, the sooner we'll get there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shout out Black Girl Hockey Club.
Yeah.
They got a shout out on. They got a shout out from Ron McLean the other day too, which was great.
That was unreal. Yeah.
That was great. That's awesome, and they're doing great work. And I hope you get the chance to follow them and donate if you can. So beyond that, a listener asked a really good question, and before we get to the press conference here, I would just like to ask: The listener suggested that Jesse Blake is the Elliot Friedman of the podcast, based solely on one physical attribute, and that is the beard. So my question to you, Steve Dangle, and I have my answer ready to go, and I want everybody's answer.
Oh my God.
You can pull on it. Does that hurt?
Okay. All right. You're showing off.
I know, it's delicious.
You're just
Who's
showing
got
off.
the better beard, Elliot Friedman or Jesse?
Oh, it's
And
Elliot.
I want answers in the comments. So Jesse says Elliot. Steve.
Elliot.
Elliot?
Jesse's, here's why.
Okay.
Jesse's beard is far too normal. Jesse's beard looks like it belongs on his face. Elliot's beard
Elliot's starting to
looks
look more
like he's
a Kaiser every
riding
day.
back to his wife from the fields of Gettysburg.
It's Elliot's in The Revenant every day.
Dearest Eleanor,
Good.
stop. This is Elliot. Stop.
Yeah.
Long have I yearned for your embrace. Stop.
I'm going to give it to Jesse for the same reason Steve gave it to Elliot. It fits Jesse's face better. Elliot's is out there, and you know Elliot's playing a prank on all of us. You know that. You know what he's doing. And Elliot's doing a really because you were not allowed to have beards on Hockey Night in Canada up until this year. But I think because the players have a little bit of a relaxed setting because they can walk to the game without suits on now. I think Elliot is now going, well, I mean, if the players can, how about Big E?
I think Steve Dangle gets told to shave that nonsense.
Oh yeah.
I think Elliot Friedman is taking advantage of the fact that he's Elliot Friedman and can look like a colonial general. The dude looks like Grover Cleveland. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope he keeps his upsetting beard for as long as possible. I hope his beard gets to hoist the Stanley Cup. Like he just goes like this and two hands come out of his beard and go, yeah, and hoist it above his lips.
And with that,
it's mighty.
Let's get to the press conference. Jesse, before you play.
Steve Dangle press conference.
Holy shit. That was regret. I was going to have you pause so I could go to the bathroom, but then my eardrums
that was fun.
I don't know. Would it be okay if I went to the bathroom?
No, hold on. One more time.
Okay. All right.
The presser. SD. The Steve
couldn't hear
Dangle
that.
press conference.
Did you play it? Did you play it? Hey, did you play it?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did hear that. Jesus.
Thank you, Tony.
Some heavy bass on that,
Tony!
Jesse. Oh my God.
Where are you? Tony.
That's like when you're driving around and your friend's parents like Oldsmobile Alero in high school, and you're just thumping the bass and the speakers can't handle it. This car was meant for old people.
That was really specific.
I got to use the bathroom. Give me a sec.
All right. First question. This is from Austin Miller, Miller1397 on Twitter.
Austin M.
Did having Leo having to change up how you watch a game affect the outcome? Steve, I'm going to simplify this question. How has having Leo affected how you watch the game?
So yesterday he slept peacefully until he started to stir. I made him a bottle. He crapped in my lap while I fed him, and then Matthew scored. So I guess the way he's changed the way I watch the game is based off the one game I've watched with him. He pooped, and now I hope that he poops so that my team can win. Because for game one, he was basically just asleep upstairs. So
That question reminded me of this tweet. Can I read this tweet to you?
Mm-hmm.
From the Cleveland baseball team. If for you and it could field was you and you for it was to be should you for $10,000, would you do it?
I mean, this guy's got a point.
It was sent out yesterday. If for you and it could field was and you for it was to be should you for $10,000, would you do it?
You guys ever listen to Rogan?
Shut up. Don't bring Joe Rogan into this.
I didn't say that.
You guys ever listen to
That was, but what was, okay, I can't decide if their strategy of leaving that tweet up and just commenting about it like nothing happened. I can't just decide if that's.
I'll just leave it. It's fine.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's brilliant. Like, I don't know how that got sent. I don't know if someone is quitting in an amazing fashion or if they just simply made a mistake. I called Nick Robertson the defenseman.
It seems like they tried to start that tweet 3 different times and forgot. And then added the part where it makes sense. The $10,000, would you?
Been there. I mean, we're all not sleeping properly.
Do you guys want a question from Adam Steiner?
Oh,
Adam Steiner 9.
I like that he's named after a gigantic beer can or beer glass.
I like that he's named after a wrestler named Big Papa Pump.
What?
Scott Steiner.
I don't know, dude.
You don't know Scott Steiner?
Okay,
yes,
no,
Scott Steiner?
you guys
Okay.
are
Okay,
wrong.
no,
I am not wrong.
Okay, we need to call out, before we get to Adam's question, we need to call out Steve for a second here.
Okay, let's do it.
You did this yesterday too?
What did you do?
You dropped a reference in our group chat to Edge and Brock
Edge and Christian?
Edge from WWE and some other wrestler in regards to Muzzin. I was like, I don't understand your deep cut wrestling references. Stop comparing things to wrestling. It's not a conversation.
Deep cut wrestling references.
When Steve is not watching Austin Matthews in the summertime score all 47 of his goals,
47, get it right.
if he is logged into the Steve Dangle Podcast YouTube account, he is watching old wrestling videos. Because so when Jesse logs on, all he sees is recommended for you. Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, and then wrestling.
Is it Joe Rogan?
No, it's just everybody gets a Joe Rogan recommendation. You can watch.
I was like, I haven't watched.
You could be on
in a long
YouTube
time.
Kids and they're like, you want to see Jordan Peterson own a guy? And it's like, that's just the way YouTube works. They're the Joe Rogan factory until actually he's on Spotify now, so probably not.
Peppa Pig, Max and Ruby, Paw Patrol. Women are wrong again. Paw Patrol.
Steve, my hardcore wrestlingness is from a very distinct era in the, I guess it would be early 2000s, where Randy Orton was king.
Wait, Jesse,
and they brought
stop
back,
talking for a
They
second.
brought back DX. What are you putting up?
Okay, continue.
What is that?
It's Edge.
Do you have an Edge figurine?
Yes.
That's really cool.
We're going to hang it up in the room.
I was around when Edge was around. You know, I watched a lot of that. John Cena, he was my boy. I was like 11, you know, but like I can't keep up sometimes, and you need to stop it.
I can't either.
Because then it's not a
deep.
conversation. It's just you spitting facts at me that I don't understand.
Yeah, facts about fiction, frankly.
Facts about fiction.
And I did watch too. I watched right up, like I was in the Rock versus Hulk Hogan era, and I went to WrestleMania in Toronto, and I sat 7 million seats back, but I was there. But like, and actually Eric Young always talks about that one. Our boy Eric Young.
Yeah, Eric Young, who seems like the coolest person alive and just rides motorcycles all day.
And smokes cigars and watches hockey and writes for The Athletic. And
man.
yeah, man. That if that's a life, that's a good life.
Right.
Yeah, but he said that was one of the greatest matches of all time, was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, because people were cheering for the wrong guy. They were cheering for Hulk. I was cheering for Hulk.
Screws everything up for everybody.
Well, and then they were able to switch it up so that the crowd, because The Rock wanted the crowd to be cheering for The Rock. They switched it up on the fly because they're both masters at it, and it was an amazing night. But that is where the knowledge that I have ends, Steve.
Steve, you haven't said anything.
All I said, I was looking back at the conversation. I said it looked like a stinger. And then I said, that reminds me of Edge and Paige. All you got to do is type in those words together. Now, I did type in Edge and Stinger together, and it is a bit of a confusing Google search on account of Sting is a wrestler, and there's an exercise bike that is apparently called the Edge Stinger. But if Paige Stinger should bring you directly to the injury, and you would have seen that if you had bothered to look. And no, that also leads to it. Damn it. No, here it is. Here's the video. Exactly. Shut your face.
I don't understand. What
I'm
we
sure
are
this
right
makes for great podcast.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I didn't bring this topic up.
How many Joe Rogan videos are on the side and suggested?
Well, okay, so I've looked up wrestling, so already enormous chauvinist.
Yeah.
Like, so, hey, I'm like, hey, do you know about this wrestling video from a few years ago? Men's rights activist. Gotcha. So here's what we got lined up for you. You looked up women's wrestling. You must have made a mistake, sir. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of how it works.
Jesse, next question.
So-
from Adam Steiner.
Adam Steiner wants to know, would you rather have Kadri in this series or Barry and Kerfoot?
I'm going to be unpopular. Barry Kerfoot.
I'm going to say Barry Kerfoot, too.
Yep. Barry Kerfoot. Here's the thing.
Dude, who do you replace Barry with?
You don't.
And Kerfoot's look great.
Yeah. And what are you going to do without Muzzin and no Barry? And here's the other thing. Nazem Kadri, as much as we love him and miss him, Nazem Kadri got suspended 2 first rounds in a row and directly affected negatively the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs had no choice but to trade him. They didn't have a choice. I love him too.
I love him. I will always love him. If he wins a Stanley Cup, I'm probably going to cry tears of joy for him.
Yes.
But Nazem Kadri traded himself.
Bingo.
He did. And Kerfoot
was gonna move.
great. Kerfoot looks great.
Man, I like Kerfoot on the penalty kill too. He's looked really strong.
Why did it take so long to try?
I don't get that either. I don't get that either. It's not like he's playing power play minutes. Like I didn't understand that. But yeah, finally they've done it. Jesse, next question.
Next question from PLS Call Measurely. They want to know, is Dubas getting fired a real possibility if the Leafs don't make it past the play-in?
No.
Shut that down.
Who suggested it was?
They're asking the question.
I know, but did anybody suggest that it was?
I don't think so.
No, he's not going to get fired because of losing in the play-in, but the conversation definitely begins. The conversation begins are we going in the right direction? Because we keep thinking that we should be closer to contention. We intentionally did not buy at this deadline because the team did so poorly heading into the deadline. We keep thinking this team is further ahead than they are. Maybe they're not. And if they're not where we thought they were, should the people evaluating them get into a little bit of trouble?
Well, they should. They should have some hot water and maybe some fire under their feet. But making a change now, you've just brought in a new head coach. I mean, like, I think people are in such a damn hurry to fire people in this town. We forget what it was like when Dave Nonis was the GM and Randy Carlyle and Ron Wilson and whatever else was the coach. This organization 5 years ago was an absolute disaster, an absolute mess. And I think people forget that. We're lucky now. I don't think people realize what a laughingstock, what a joke the Toronto Maple Leafs were. Go back and look at the roster they thought was going to make the playoffs. Go back and look at the David Clarkson contract.
Yeah.
Go back and look what they almost gave Cody Franson, which he insanely turned down. What they almost gave Dave Bolin, which the Panthers somehow outbid them on. Guys, I don't think you realized, anybody that tells you that Dubas needs to get fired, it's that there's one little crew, a very bullying and mean crew, actually, in Leafs Twitter.
Who got exposed.
That just got exposed. And by the way, shout out to Quinn for that. For who are like they don't like Dubas, and they also don't like anybody who's not a straight white dude.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Now, what is their YouTube algorithm like?
Yeah, right. But the reality here is that people don't like Dubas because Dubas is a fucking nerd, and they're like, "You fucking nerd, you don't know hockey." Dubas is extremely smart. This is a team that is imperfect, but is underplaying or was underplaying. Last night was a great example of what they can do, underplaying the talent level that they have. Making a change right now goes right back to what it was for 15 years of cycling through a whole bunch of hockey men and getting absolutely nowhere. You don't realize You don't understand. You don't have any perspective on what the Toronto Maple Leafs were 5 years ago. And you think, oh, that's a long time ago. It feels like yesterday to me. And anybody that tells you that Lou Lamoriello was the answer, in a lot of ways, Lou Lamoriello was the answer for the time. But if Lou Lamoriello had kept going here, there would have been a total disaster on our hands. Nikita Zaitsev, Patrick Marleau, and many, many others. This is unfortunately what growth is. It's painful. Now, I'm not saying you can't hold managers to account. I think we have on this show. I think that like we talked about it a couple episodes ago, I think, Steve. It was like, how do you not have a center on a penalty kill for 2 years? How do you not get that? How do you go into a season and you don't have the proper backup? Those are legitimate criticisms. But to say, and you know what you could say, you could criticize the negotiating skills for, an overpayment on Marner. People still think Nylander's overpaid. I got news for you. You're absolutely wrong. You're wrong.
People
you're
think
wrong.
Matthews is overpaid.
Yeah, people think, well, he scored 47 goals. I don't know. I don't understand that. And that's fine. They can have that opinion. They can be wrong, but they can still have that opinion. They are wrong. Marner will probably live up to his deal. Nylander definitely will. Matthews, I think, will. The point here is that these guys, how old is Austin Matthews? 23?
Might have just turned 23.
He is among the youngest players on this team.
Still.
You know that, right? He's like the bottom 3, like youngest guy on this team. This is not an old team. This is not a mature team. They got a lot of
23 mid playoffs.
You got to understand. Yeah, turned 23 mid playoffs. Like, think about that. He's still 22.
Yep.
Wow.
Austin Matthews is 22. Guys, perspective. Austin Matthews is going to hit his peak in 5 years. Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to, let me reframe, like, go back and read some of the articles from back in the day about what the Leafs were dealing with, the cap hell they were in, the zero talent that they had, the empty cupboard that they had with the AHL.
Ian White should be captain.
Like, it was a joke. It was an absolute joke. This franchise is fine. And I disagree strongly with Steve, and I love you, Steve, but I disagree strongly with you when you say if they don't make it through this, they should blow it up. Do they need to make a move? Sure. I can get down with a move, but blow it up? Nah.
Blow it up is ridiculous because blow it up means get rid of
one of the big 5. And I include Morgan Riley in that. Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Morgan Riley.
Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that, but you do need to look at at least 3 guys on the active roster have to be gone. That's like significant.
That could be fair.
And moved. But I think the firing Dubas conversation, I think we're at least 2 years of abysmal failure away from that.
Yeah.
At least.
Because ultimately, he's done a good job. Tell me anybody that's going to trade back John Tavares' 47 goal season.
No.
Yeah. Like, do you understand that, like, nobody got close to 50 goals on the Toronto Maple Leafs for like 30 years? Like, it was
he scored 47 like in his sleep.
Oh, I'm frozen.
Oh,
there you are.
Back. You're back.
Am I frozen? Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear
there
me?
you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
Hi.
All right,
Hi.
Steve.
Can you hear me?
This is our podcast now.
This is us. This is
Am I
just us,
back?
Jesse.
Okay, I don't even know what Steve said.
Adam's.
I said hello.
But we just said we can hear you.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. It says my internet connection is unstable. Kind of like me in general. We'll just get along. No, but in all honesty, I think we gotta put things in perspective here. Yes, we'd all like to have a Stanley Cup by now, but frankly, this is part of the growing pains. I want you to look up the Pittsburgh Penguins at the end of the 80s. It took Mario Lemieux 6 years to make the playoffs.
Right.
When there were 16 teams that made the playoffs and only 21 in the entire league. And the Penguins still couldn't make the playoffs with Mario Lemieux. Like, come on, guys. Get it together. Wake up. And that's not the person that's asking the question, by the way. I'm just saying, anybody that says fire Dubas, fire yourself. You're terrible. You suck.
Whoa.
What are you talking about?
Whoa.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes,
No.
please.
Steve, first of all, what are you scrolling?
Nothing.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it probably is nothing.
Go ahead. This one comes from Jeremy. Jeremy wants to know, corn or flour tortilla?
The flour are the soft ones, right?
Yeah.
Flour all day.
I like them both. Flour.
Okay.
I like them both. I've never once gone, you know what I usually do? I go, ooh, I get to have one of each.
It's fair.
It's true.
I
I literally did that on the weekend. There were both options, and I went, I'm going to have both.
I'm going to go with no on corn. 10 times out of 10. Not a corn tortilla guy. I want it to hold together, but here's the thing with flour. Flour tortillas wrap up the food like a nice little blanket. It's a nice little sleeping bag of deliciousness. Whereas corn tortillas just fall apart and it just becomes a taco salad.
Damn. True.
Just saying.
Well, more for me.
Jesse, what about you?
Flour.
See,
Flour all day.
correct. The answer is correct. Okay, Steve's not even paying attention anymore, so we can wrap this up. No. You want to know if you're watching this? You want to know when Steve's not engaged? He's looking like this.
I was looking at the both of you guys. I'm so fucking tired, man.
Yeah, he's a new baby.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
Leo just babbles.
I know, man. Listen, I love being a dad, but I wouldn't go back to that first 6 months for anything.
He literally just grunts like a gremlin for hours every night.
Well, listen.
We started laughing at it because we call it his Chucky phase. If you've ever watched the Chucky movies when he attacks him, it's what he sounds like.
He does.
My adorable baby who's like so bright-eyed and like just learning to smile for several hours a night. And it's really distracting.
Yep. And at that age, if they even make a noise when you're sleeping, you're like, is everything okay? Is it alive? Is it alive? Literally.
That's the thing, man. Like we're over it. It's just we're over it. The first 2 weeks I was a hover dad for sure. And now I'm like, can you stop grunting?
It's really inconvenient for me.
It's really inconvenient for me.
What was supposed to happen, this was supposed to be the perfect thing, is the playoffs were supposed to be over, the Stanley Cup was supposed to be over, free agency was essentially supposed to be over, and Leo was supposed to be born. It was almost perfectly timed, and then the pandemic hit, and now Steve is hitting the beginning of the playoffs in the middle of one of the hardest parts about being a parent schedule-wise.
But we're hoping that he just starts to enter sleeping through the night territory when we hit this off season.
Yes.
Which is October, November.
Not out of the question.
It's not out of the question. And he is a decent sleeper. It's just in his sleep, he goes, and
that's when you got to put him in his own room. Baby monitor time.
Oh, funny you should mention that. We tested the baby monitor just yesterday.
Oh, good. Because
we were like, does this work? Let's just take it out of the box, make sure it works. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with that. And to you, if you are going through young baby stuff as well, best of luck to your teams. We will see you back on, I believe, Sunday, correct? We have a Sunday show.
I don't know.
Sunday might be game 5 or the series is over.
Okay. So if there is a game 5 Sunday, we will delay till Monday.
Yes.
So we're going to base that on the Leafs. Just heads up to everybody. If the Leafs can take the next 2 games, Thursday, Friday, then we will see you Sunday. If not, we will see you Monday. Until then, good luck to your team. Thanks so much for listening. What the hell was that?
Is that what you wanted to do?
There it is. I did it. So you got to talk over the intro. It doesn't get in it right away.
We're gonna go now.
Now it's gonna hit. There it is.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter. Steve_Dangle, Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
We can practice that.